Good morning and welcome to day 2 of the annual customer conference and to this morning's session, Situational Awareness in and Beyond the Control Room, brought to you by Barco. In case you weren't on yesterday, I want to take a second and just get you familiar with the new conference platform. On the right side of your screen is a chat and Q&A area. Please use the chat to have open dialogue with us or other attendees. These are specific to each session. If you have a question for the presenters today, please post those in the Q&A section so we can keep all questions in one place. We will answer as many of those as we can at the end of the session. All of the sessions are being recorded and they will be on demand within a matter of hours. So you'll find those under the sessions menu and on demand. If available, you can find any relevant downloads for today's session just below this main presentation area. So you just scroll down a little bit. Today's presenter is Lee Pagnon. Lee is the National Sales Manager for the utility vertical market of Barco's Operator Experience Division. With integration and manufacturing experience, he has spent his entire career implementing AV IT systems into mission-critical control room environments. He enjoys applying the latest technologies to improve situational awareness to key decision makers. Lee, welcome. We're very glad you were able to join us this year. And if you're ready, I will turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you just fine.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for everybody for coming and attending our virtual session. Thanks, ACS, for hosting it this year. So as Delana said, I'm Lee Pagnon. I head up our sales for electric utilities and our mission-critical video wall products. And then also joining me from Duluth, which is where our headquarters is John Wheeler. John may turn on his camera at some point, and I'm going to turn mine off here in a little bit because we had some issues with bandwidth. We also had issues with the presentation in presenter mode, so I know I'm not in presenter mode, but this deck will be available for you guys at the conclusion. So just to start things off with some housekeeping, there is chat available. Feel free to ask questions as we're going through this presentation, so you don't forget anything, submit it in there. We'll answer everything at the conclusion of our presentation. And if we don't have time to, we'll get written responses out to you. We've absolutely loved this platform, this virtual platform, and what it offers. There's a tremendous amount of resources that Barco was able to upload there. So feel free to peruse our virtual booth where you'll find a series of white papers, video demos, and spec sheets of our product offerings. Perfect. So a little bit about Barco. Barco is nearly a 100-year-old AV IT European manufacturing firm. We're a multi-billion-dollar firm that's traded on the European Stock Exchange. We have 3 primary business objectives or divisions: medical, entertainment, and then enterprise. Enterprise is what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. That's where John and I fit in. Enterprise, as you can imagine, is a very generic umbrella term for a variety of applications, from boardrooms, conference rooms, classrooms, huddle spaces, auditoriums, and most relevant to this discussion is going to be the command and control center. So Barco identified that the mission critical space is very unique early on. We've actually had a dedicated control room group for the better part of 30 years and designed a whole series of products that are around mission critical applications. So if you hear John and I referencing OX, that's the operator experience division of Barco. We're all about the experience here. So within the control room, the slide that you currently see is what Barco breaks things up into the 4 quadrants of command and control, and Barco does have solutions for each one of these quadrants. First one being the operator workspace. How are they interacting with the sources and leveraging all the information that you've given your operators? Barco has a platform that allows all that information from multiple networks to be ingested, brought in, and interacted with in real time. The heart of the video wall control, or the control room, is the video wall system. That's in the bottom quadrant there, and we'll talk just very briefly about that. There's also collaboration spaces, ancillary spaces within the control room, and really what we're going to spend a majority of our time talking about today is going to be that remote or those mobile breakout platforms. Again, I apologize, this isn't going to be as smooth as normal because this platform wasn't really accommodating the presenter mode here.
If you're watching and you guys need it to show a little bit larger, there is a full screen option if you haven't already selected.
Yeah, sorry, we played around with it a bunch this morning, and this was just the best we could do. The deck will be available for download for you guys at the conclusion of this today. So what you see here is a very modern control room. The focal point of the modern control room consists of the overview display wall with content visible to allow the operators or users to gain an understanding of the complete operations. All the relevant content is displayed at the operator's choosing through the video wall processing system. Now, very briefly, and I'm going to turn my camera off at this point just to conserve bandwidth, but very quickly, we're going to have John run through some display technologies from our demo center in Atlanta there. Perfect. So yeah, that's great, John. Wherever you would like to start, let's start there. So what you're looking at right there is a direct view LED video wall. Direct view LED is not the newest of technologies. It's actually been around for the better part of 40 years, but a fine pixel pitch that allows for indoor close viewing is relatively new. So Barco's been a pioneer of that technology for, again, about 40 years, going back to our live dot system that was utilized for outdoor stadium and live event applications. And now Barco has brought that indoors. It is a very appealing technology in command and control in that it is truly seamless. What you'll notice there is no breaks in the image, so you're able to create a very seamless video wall. And John, if you could roll over to Unicy, please. Right there, that is an LCD video wall. I think we're all very familiar with LCD video wall or thin bezel LCD video wall at this point. Barco, about 3 years ago, introduced the world's first bezel-less LCD. And that was just very, very popular in command and control, specifically electric utilities, where you're going to be showing your SCADA content across multiple displays and not wanting a break in the image. It is the most cost-effective video wall technology that you could deploy, and it does require minimum space. And John, if you could roll over to the ODL. Thank you. That's been the workhorse of command and control right there. I'm sure you guys are also very familiar with that technology. In that it is a rear projection cube. Barco was the first ones to migrate over to an RGB laser-based illumination unit, and that is still our most popular display for electric utilities, just due to the longevity of the product, the reliability of the product, and also the image quality. So perfect. Thank you very much, John. Okay, so really what we want to talk to you guys today about is situational awareness. What is situational awareness? Why is it important? And how do we achieve that within the mission critical space? So situational awareness is all about knowing what is going on around you. If you have noticed, mission critical operations have a higher than normal employee attention rate of ex-military. And one of the biggest reasons behind that is, yes, mission critical operations played an important role while they were in the field, but also this just lends itself right into what they have been trained by the U.S. government to do, which is identify threats and plan for those threats. And that all starts with situational awareness, knowing what is going on around you. And I've come across several just hilarious photos over the years of situational awareness. I decided to use the shark right here. You have this nice gentleman enjoying a nice kayak off the coast of California, and he has a 365-degree view of the control of the ocean, and he fails to see that there's a very large predator behind him. That is the importance of situational awareness, being able to identify and foresee the threats that are coming. And we're actually taught about this from a very early age, whether it is, don't go towards that white van that is offering candy, to don't go down that dark alley if you see some shady folks in that dark alley. And the best way to achieve situational awareness is going to be making sure that you have the right information, getting it to the right people at the right time so that they can make informed decisions. So situational blindness, this is actually one of my favorite things to talk about here. So for years, we strived for situational awareness in the control room space. How do we get all the relevant content into a centralized platform to make informed decisions? And it was hard. I mean, at the time, we had analog sources, digital sources were starting to come in. There was this IP source thing. And oh yeah, all these things were coming in from different networks. So for a while, it really seemed like situational awareness was just a buzzword. It was kind of like nirvana. It's something you strive for, but you never quite got to. And probably 6-7 years ago, the industry, the technology, hey, we achieved situational awareness within the control center. And shortly after we got done patting ourselves on the back, we realized that we had created another issue, and that was situational blindness. Situational blindness is a variance of the psychological phenomenon known as unintentional blindness. Yes, unintentional is a technical medical term. And so that is the effect that is highlighted when an individual fails to recognize a stimuli in plain sight as a result of a lack of attention or rather than an image defect or deficit. So this is incredibly cool for anybody that is in mission critical operations. There is a great documented case study. It's called the Invisible Gorilla Test. You can watch this on YouTube. It has been repeated over and over with different variances in there since the 1970s. But the crux of it is that a viewer is asked to watch a group of people in white shirts and black shirts passing around a basketball. Sorry about that. So the viewer is asked to watch a group of people in white shirts and black shirts passing around a basketball and count how many passes are made by one group. Doesn't sound all that complex. At some point, a gorilla is going to walk by in the background. 50% of the people do not see the gorilla. Their focus is elsewhere. The gorilla is lost in the black shirts. And the same thing can occur in control rooms when operators are presented with dozens or hundreds or even thousands of different sources. They can't see the forest through the trees. So here's really where the common operating picture is going to come in. How do you cut through that noise? So the common operating picture is a group of sources all relevant to a pre-planned event or response to a triggered event. It strips away the irrelevant data, allowing for the focus to be pertinent data for the incident. For a second, let's pretend that you're in a security operations center for a corporate campus. You have your security cameras, your video management system, access control, TV tuners, DMS signs for pushing content, all available to you within the control center. If an access control point, a badge reader, is tripped within that office space, what relevance do the security cameras in the parking structure have? What relevance does the local news have? Absolutely nothing. So what the common operating picture does is allows you to strip away those distractions that detract from the operator's attention to the incident. So thus creating the common operating picture of what is exactly relevant to that space. So this is just a quick summary again as part of the slide deck for what it is here. So here's some examples in the electric utility space of how we see the common operating picture being shared outside of the control center, the importance of it. So you have your utility control center, and you're going to have your internal teams, and those internal teams might be in a breakout or war room, executive briefing center, or other control rooms. Maybe you have some backup centers. And security is becoming a much bigger part of command and control as well, whether that is physical security of your primary control center, your corporate headquarters, your substations, or cybersecurity. Obviously, another very big growing threat. Want to make sure that all relevant content is being able to be shown to those different operators. So right there, I'm going to stop. And again, if we can look at, it's John, but it shows up under DAC. If we could look at Dak's camera view there for a second. Again, we have John in our mock control room. So what John is looking at on his video, well, he's our operator right now. And he is looking at a bunch of pre-done content, a common operating picture, if you will, for electric utility content. Now, again, let's apply that same example of there's a security breach of the facility. If John wants to move from more of a utility system operation perspective to a physical security layout, John, if you just want to hit your security layout, with the click of a button, John is now able to manipulate, control, and change all of the content within the control center to a different objective based on, again, either a triggered event or an emergency level event. And all that is done through pre-planning of your operations. So what we work with you guys to do is determine what does your day-to-day business look like? What are the emergency situations that you foresee coming, right? And in electric utilities, it could be a variety of different things, from system failures to natural events, whether it's hurricanes, fires, freezing temperatures that are taking some of your generation capabilities offline, a variety of different things there. So, and what we always encourage folks to do is really, use your imagination for how your system operations work, what is unique about your enterprise, and how you can leverage a technology platform to accomplish your objectives. It is absolutely remarkable. One of the things that we're going to talk about here shortly that was designed with one particular set of goals in mind. And we get end users coming up with different applications for that technology on a very regular basis. And that is them using their imagination to steer technology into accomplishing their objectives.
So Lee, to kind of tail on to that as well, what you were saying about, having the common operating picture and being able to change it from perspective to perspective. Something else that's been used lately in the utility spaces. So for instance, as they go through their day-to-day processes, it could be a standard blue sky day, but say on Wednesday, they have maintenance schedules that they typically run, and they're working on work orders. So again, as John changed the layout of the wall to support the security event, you can also change the wall to kind of tailor to what you're doing with your maintenance reports or your maintenance cycles during those times. So again, as you're able to kind of look at the way that the control room operates on a day-to-day basis, you can tailor those views specifically for those days and for those tasks. So again, it's a much more cleaner way, collaborative way to kind of use the space, for different types of situations.
Thank you, Sean. And I think that's a perfect time to introduce my counterpart, Sean Brady. Sean is just a great family man and father, and got a call from his son's school that he had to run over and pick up his son real quick. So he had to join just a tail bit late, but thanks for jumping on, Sean.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So talking a little bit about real-time information sharing, right? So from the control room out to other spaces. What are those other spaces? Those other spaces could be a conference room, a war room, an executive briefing center. Could be your manager or director's office if they just have an LCD in there, if they don't have direct view of your operations floor. Or it could mean sending it out to third-party agencies. That's actually something that Barco is doing just a lot of recently, primarily over in California. We recently did a project for a municipality that wanted the ability to tie in their content with EMS, with the fire department, and with police. And all four of those agencies, utilities being the fourth, are all collaboratively sharing information. In fact, and this is the first time that I've ever seen this in the space, they all had an agreement where they had a system operator present in each one of their control rooms. So within the electric utility control room, there was a member of the fire department in there watching for things. And that's an example of utility operations changing based lessons learned, practicality with all the wildfires that California has had to improve their operations. So that's an example of third-party agencies doing it. And then also out to the field. This is something that we're seeing in a variety of different vertical markets. Specific to utilities, out to the field might be, your linemen, if they are attempting to troubleshoot some antiquated equipment that maybe they have not been familiarized with. In real time, sharing information, the control center can be communicating with your service team. So from the field, or from the control room out, is actually something that Barco has been able to do for quite some time. And now what we're able to do is get content from the field in to the control room, or for third parties in to the control room safely and securely being the most important word in there. These these technologies and product solutions that John's going to run through really quickly here, these are deployed within NERC-CIP environments. So they have passed the studious tests that are required for that and the documentation that are required for that. And I apologize for going through this very quickly. This is just a presentation we'll normally cover in about 90 minutes, and we're just trying to condense it down really quickly. So actually at this point, given where we're at, what I'd like to do is turn it over to John, and John's going to run us through just a really cool example of what the technology looks like.
Thanks, Lee. Hi, everybody. So I am here at our Duluth showroom, and I am actually able to use one of our products called Securestream, where Securestream is a product that Barco makes that allows you to take content that traditionally is only available inside the control room and allows you to send it outside the control room for remote viewing, maybe a triage situation, or even maybe an executive that is on the road traveling and does not have access to, say, a VPN or a connection back to look at something. So if I can, I'm going to try to share my screen. If Lee could stop for a second. Thank you. So let's see if I am able to do this. We're going to try that. Okay. I'll do the entire screen. All right, so I hope everybody is seeing my screen at this moment.
Yes, we are.
Okay, fantastic. So I need to do, I thought I had the window open. So we're going to go to our gateway here. And again, our solution is a hybrid solution. So you have a gateway online, and then you are on your premise that allows secure connectivity up to the cloud using HTTPS. One port, doesn't need to be hundreds of thousands of ports and all of IT involved. We do pen testing and have white papers that get us our connectivity out, secured, tested, so your IT department doesn't have too many problems with it. So once we go into the cloud, into our cloud management portal here, we can see some statistics, but we're going to show you the meat and potatoes of this. So I'm going to go to where we publish our content, and we're going to see that we have some local channels here. What I would like to do is I would like to share a QR code with everybody on my screen. So if you take your camera out from your pocket, turn on your camera and scan that QR code, it should take you to a web page. And that web page will ask for a name. You can use any name you want. It doesn't have to be anything special. So I will leave that up there for a minute. So when you join, you're actually going to see right away that I am sharing a camera, and it's actually a camera that is above our video wall looking toward everybody. So with a very simple web URL link that I can manage, create, and share, you see that you can access this camera pretty quickly. Now, what we're going to do here in a second is I'm going to show you how easy it is for me to change content. And one thing I want you to know is that this can be done in many ways. And again, as we said, we're probably going to come up against a hard stop here shortly, so I don't want to drag it on. But I'm going to go into our web interface where we just were, and you can see that we have 11 viewers and it's growing. I'm going to bring another camera in. Actually, I'll just bring let's see here. I'll bring this other camera view in that you guys saw a little earlier, and I'm going to drop it onto the stream, and it should change your view momentarily if it hasn't changed already. And if it didn't, I apologize. I'll grab another one. There it goes. So there's the camera view change. You'll see it again change to a bouncing ball. But pretty much all I have to do is drag my sources I want, drop them, and our content changes. Mm-hmm. The service is cloud-based. We can support up to 3,500 simultaneous views. It is worldwide supported, and we have multiple deployment options where we can put it in a security zone. We can keep it local through a VPN, and we can also do username, password, credentials on it to keep it even further secure.
Yeah, so what you can do there, and that is one stream, and that one stream can have up to 30,000 simultaneous views. I just cannot fathom an electric utility coming anywhere close to that amount of views. And what John's showing is one source being displayed in there. John, could you toss maybe a perspective on it?
I am not, with this stream, I'm not able to, Lee. So I would have to do it.
What you can also do is share a perspective of sources. So you could show what is being displayed on your video wall. And the whole point of this being that you can get real-time information to all of your key decision makers. Maybe your manager stepped out for a coffee and he's at line at Starbucks, or you have a director working from home. Fellow operators working from home is a big thing right now in these COVID times. And so it's all about getting, real information to the key decision makers in real time. And one of the things that I always say throughout my presentations is the most expensive information in a control center is inaccurate information. And I usually don't credit who said that, but it was a guy named Dennis Newton, and I know Mark Dunlap is on. So Mark, please say hi to Dennis for me and let him know I was paying attention all those times that he was speaking. And I always loved that and thought it was very, very accurate. We want to make sure that the key decision makers are getting real-time information. And so with that, sorry for the technical glitches and being a little bit slower than normal in going through this, but have we had any questions pop in?
Actually, we do have a couple, and we've got time for a couple. The first one that came in looks like, how does Barco design their systems for maximum uptime?
Yeah, so obviously these facilities are mission critical, command and control. We want to make sure that uptime is very important. We want to make sure our systems are designed to do that. So Barco's built-in redundancy from redundant power, redundant hard drives, redundant video wall controllers. So everything within our systems, from the servers to the power supplies, encoders and decoders, can all be done with redundancy, hardware redundancy. And then also built into our software suite, Control Room Management, or CMS, is a special licensing for system monitoring. And that application keeps an eye on all the Barco hardware and software that's running on the network. And in case of any failure, the TSM will send an email notification stating the failure and the time of failure. It'll also automatically roll over whatever that failed component is. So depending on what that failed component is, if it's a decoder, that is swapped out in less than 2 seconds. If you have a server failure, that'll swap out in about 43 seconds. So your continuity of operations never suffers.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. And thanks for that question. I think we can do one more quick one. Let's see. What is Barco's position on the latest NERC SIP standards?
So Barco, Barco's got a lot of experience in this space. We do about 50 electric utility control centers a year, so you can imagine we're very familiar with NERC SIP from 5 to 7 to actually Barco was the first one to clear SIP 13. And we have now done that with some of the largest utilities operating in North America, from Southern California Edison to Dominion to Duke to NextEra. Barco has been deemed SIP compliant by all of those. And we know how to set up our systems in an architecture that supports the SIP compliances that are out there.
Okay, great. If anybody has any additional questions for the Barco team, they do have the exhibitor space that Lee mentioned. If you go to the exhibitors tab on the left, you can hop into their booth, take a look around, send them direct messages. So again, I want to thank the team at Barco for being a part of this year's conference, and thank you to everybody for joining today's session. Do take a moment, like I said, to check out their booth. They've got lots of solutions and information there for you. So thanks again. We'll see you on the next session.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.